Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem al Shai Bashem Kodash. The honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the confusion and face Akim joined unto our ranks. The hopefully elect, the Akwaf that are listening and learning. The scattered Israelites among the other nations. To you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago. It's coming at you with another lesson in Shabbat Shalom. It's in a double. Today ends the last cycle, and at sundown the new moon cycle begins, the new Shabbat, so it's a double. So just trying to stay in the spirit and stay active spiritually. But couple videos that I've had in my watch later, I don't like to let them get too old because then I kind of forget about them, you know, or it cannot be relevant, although this one is very relevant. So this is a time that's coming, all right, and it's a time when destruction is near around the whole world, and you're gonna, and you know, I'm just gonna go right into the scriptures. This is 2 Peter 3, and I'm starting verse 9. It says, Yahweh is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. So, first of all, we're waiting for the elect to be sealed, all right? Which we're dangerously close to that. If they're not sealed already, we're dangerously close to it, and then the danger is only for the heathens in the 2/3. All right. Verse 10, but the day of Yahweh will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also and the works therein shall be burned up. And how is that going to happen? When the missiles start flying, when the arrows that will, you know, that's one of the names they're called in the Bible, fly from one end of the earth to the other. All right, the elements are going to melt with fervent heat. All right, so the whole world is going to be touched by this destruction in one way or another, but only Babylon the Great, you know, the new Egypt, the new Nineveh, the new Rome, is going to be completely wiped off the face of the earth, and that's America, according to prophecy. And the Edomites in the know this. This is why they're all backpedaling and trying to stop this thing from happening, and they can't seem to get a grip on it, because they're not going to get a grip on it, because the Lord is directing them, directing the steps of the men who actually have the power over these weapons. All right? Verse 11, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of person ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? So it's telling you, so this is a godly thing that this should happen. It's telling you what type of person you should be. Looking forward, looking for the hastening unto the coming of the day of power, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And what can melt the concrete, the steel, the trees, the air, the water, turn great lakes and oceans into deserts? The amount of firepower that's going to be brought here to America, because all the nations of the world are gonna turn on America and the nation of Israel. It's going to be those two against everyone, and they're going to get annihilated, completely wiped off the face of the earth. That's the time that we're living in.
What a critical time that we are living in. And the stories that are coming out is showing you that things are not going so smoothly in this world. So the UN chief has recently came out talking about nuclear war. So nuclear war risk highest since World War II. UN Arms Research Chief warns. A top security expert at the United Nations has warned that the risk of nuclear weapons could be used as its highest since World War II, calling it an urgent issue that the world should be take more seriously. Speaking to reporters in the Swiss city of Geneva on Tuesday, Renata Dwan, director of the UN Institute for Disarmament Research, said the arms control landscape was changing partly due to strategic competition between the United States and China, and noted that all states with nuclear weapons have nuclear modernization programs underway. Traditional arm control arrangements were also being eroded by the emergence of different types of war, with an increasing prevalence of armed groups and private sector forces, and new technologies that blurred the line between offense and defense.
There you go. And no one's technology is as advanced as the Russians, who are the ally to the Chinese and the enemies of America. That's why they're hoarding all that gold. They're preparing, they're preparing to be the new rulers of the world. But that's not going to happen. The Chinese and the Russians are not going to be the new rulers of the world. Israel has next. All right? Because as these missiles begin to fly, and its destruction begins to fly, the Lord's going to lift up that banner. And I had a very spiritual dream that I'm even a little bit nervous about talking about. It was so real, so scary. And, and I fear that I lost a couple brethren. I don't really want to dwell on it, But in that dream, I got lifted up, and a couple other brothers did as well. And we were definitely in dire straits and looked like it was the end. And the Lord gave us a portion of that power, man. So somebody's gonna get that power. Full, like we've been telling you, 144,000 bright burns. But this is Amos, the 9th chapter, and starting at verse 8, and it reads, Behold, the eyes of Yahweh power are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith Yahweh. So not utterly, only the elect, them that were given unto him, those that he prayed for in John 17:9, not the ones that he did not pray for. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like corn is sifted in sieve, and yet not the least of the grain shall fall upon the earth. So that's race. That's what the world ignorantly calls race mixing. That's that confusion of face. That's Israel being sifted among the nations, and where those sperm lines survived, a lot of those Israelites look like those nations they're scattered to, and the Lord's going to bring them out of there. All right, a lot of the Israelites were hid among the heathen, so that Esau couldn't kill them all. All right, it tells you quite clearly in the book of Isaiah that Moab was a covert, so he hid a lot of Israelites among Moab, man. All right, and it wasn't just Moab; it was the other nations too, even among Edom. Verse 11. In that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close the breaches thereof, and I will raise up the ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. Because the impostor Jewish people, the Amalekites, the Amalek, the Israeli Jewish converts, fraudulent people in the land of Israel, they push for a physical place, for a building, and that's not it. The physical part is the bodies of the Israelites. They are the temple themselves, the 144,000. Those are the mighty men of David raising up again. Those are the elect men from all 12 tribes being brought back together and given that power, that standard.